All right. So, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Pathbreaker series by Build Your Own Paths. Today, we have with us a very, very distinguished guest and a very revered name in the whole startup investment in the domain. We today have the honor of having Dr. Apurv Ranjan Sharma, who's one of the biggest and most successful angel investor in the country. He has been in this domain and has been almost spearheading the whole domain for more than last 15 years. And besides building Venture Catalyst, which today has become one of the largest investor and supporter of startups and entrepreneurs in the country, he has lot of exciting startups and lot of multi-bagger exits to his credit. Some examples include Beardo, which was recently acquired by Marico. Again, one of the very successful stories of how Dr. Apoorv Ranjan Sharma personally mentored the founders of Beardo from right from the start till the point that they became a part of a large FMCG story. He's also known very well known for identifying Ritesh of Oyo, and he was one of the early supporters of Oyo and backed Ritesh when very few investors had belief in him. And I think today all of us know and understand what Oyo has become and what Ritesh has become. There are a lot many more examples such as Bharat Pay, which again has become today one of the India's largest fintech player. And again, Dr. Apoorv Ranjan Sharma has played a key role in spearheading and mentoring the startup. So, with that introduction, let me welcome Dr. Apoorv Ranjan Sharma.
Thank you, Ravi. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
sir, you are
audible?
audible. Yes, sir.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for the warm introduction.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for being here with us today. I think it's a big pleasure for us having you out here with us today. I think while I've given a brief introduction, why don't you maybe talk about briefly about your journey in this entire Indian startup ecosystem?
Oh, really? So, see, I tell you, Sadish, when I started, it was 2002. When I came back India 2002, you know, it was difficult to explain to the people what is startup and even difficult to explain to the people what is incubator. So when I was studying the first incubator 2002, I remember there was a time when we used to educate, professionals to do a startup. We used to educate. From there we started, right? There was no startup word. Like there were very few startups in the country, right? So we used to educate people to plunge into the startup journey, right? And from there we started. And there was one Thai chapter launched in Delhi and Mumbai, and there was no angel network in the country. There was only few wealthy individuals used to invest, but angel world we came to know only in 2006-7, right? So from there we started, and now I see that there are more than 50 cities where even in tier one cities at that time, I'm talking about Delhi, Mumbai, this startup and early stage investing was very very new words at that time. It was something considered very interesting and okay to look at. But now I see, there are more than 50 cities. You have incubation centers, and more than 1,000 incubation centers are there, and 5,000 plus investors are there. And
Indeed, I think you are the perhaps the only one person who has even undertaken a PhD in startup acceleration and incubation. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about that?
yeah, so PhD is, I'll say, it came as an outcome of the execution which I was doing on ground. Because
Right,
by now I would have set up maybe 25 plus incubators.
right.
Rather more than that, I don't stop counting after a time. But
Wow.
and more than 30 angel networks and all. But PhD came to me in 2009 when I was setting up the incubator of Amity. And at that time, because Amity being a very very strong academic institution, the vice chancellor there, Dr. Shukla, told me that why don't you do a PhD in incubation. I said okay, I'll look at it. So it took me 5 years to, but luckily that whatever work I did, that is converted into the PhD. There are 5 international, research papers, and my book is published. The PhD is converted into a book which is published.
Okay.
It's been recognized as a theory by Indoscience. Probably this is the only incubation theory by any Asian recognized. So that is also academic part of it. That is also an outcome of what these startups have taught me.
Okay. Sir, will you just excuse me for a minute? I think there are some technical issues. Is your camera aligned? Okay, because I think people are saying that your camera is getting inverted. I do not know why that should happen.
You are in the show. So what do you want? Can it?
Your camera is getting inverted. I don't know why that issue
Can you
is.
see it now? Because I just pushed something.
Uh,
Can you see me now?
yeah, no, we can see you now. It's just that they're saying that the camera is getting inverted. I do not know why this is happening.
Acha.
Uh,
Okay. So we'll wait. What do you want me to do? You're in the show. Everyone can see you here. Okay. Do you want me to join again?
yeah, I think maybe if you can do that.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope it is okay with the others. I'm just waiting for the messages.
Right. I joined again. So I hope now it's okay to all of you guys. You guys can see me.
Uh, I do not know why this is happening.
Just check with Ravi.
Can you reverse your camera? I do not know if that is the problem.
What do you want? Do you want me to reverse the camera like this?
Yeah, maybe that will help.
Is that okay?
Let me just check. Yeah, it's okay. I think there was some issues
Okay,
with the
cool.
camera alignment. Sorry for that.
No issues, no issues. I'll just set it up.
Uh,
Okay.
is it still visible?
Is it okay now? No?
Yeah, okay, awesome. All right, so I think there are still a lot of questions which are coming up, but I think I'll take questions in a while. So I think as you rightly said, you have been in this ecosystem for quite a large number of years. So if I were to ask you, what are the major trend changes that you have seen? Maybe three or four trends that you have witnessed, and which have changed over last 1 decade of startup investing. When you were with Indian Agile Network, as compared to when you're now with Venture Catalyst. How do you think the whole ecosystem has changed? Have the startups matured? I think I've lost you again. Hello? Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No issues.
So your question is that how does the startup ecosystem has evolved?
Yes, sir.
See, I tell you basically there is a lot of difference between what we used to see long back and now. Over time, even between 2016 and now, the things have changed completely.
Hmm.
Till 2016, when I was starting Venture Catalyst, the ecosystem in India was primarily concentrated in Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and
Right.
max it was Pune, Hyderabad, and the Chennai,
Right.
80% of that. Now that's not the case. Thanks to Jio, they have taken bandwidth to every small city, right? So the startup founders, which were coming primarily from the tier 2, tier 3 ecosystems, now in Ahmedabad you go, you'll find a lot of incubation, a lot of startup activity. You go to Surat, you'll find a lot of startup activity. More than 30 cities right now in
Hmm.
India,
Hmm.
they have a startup ecosystem now. And that is a big boost
Right.
because, and now you find angel investing not a new word. In
Right.
all these cities, there are angel investors and they're investing regularly into the startups.
Right.
They understand startups, they understand startup investing. You don't need to educate them on that, right?
Right.
So that is a big difference which has come. Now, startup investing and startup is becoming a mass movement now, and that was not a case earlier. I mean, I'm telling you, till 2016, I started this 2002, but till 2016 that was the scenario. Suddenly, this has started changing, and now I see a lot of international VC funds and the corporates, including Google, including I'm talking about the Chinese fund. In fact, I'm talking about the US funds. They all started investing in the seed and early stage. Earlier, they used to invest only in the late series B and C, but now because even in my portfolio companies, more than 50 international funds have invested now by now. So
Right.
that kind of thing was not there. We have to understand that now the ecosystem is in growing stage.
Right.
It's not reached a growth stage yet, but it's in the growing stage. At some point of time, maybe 3 to 5 years time, it will be at its peak. Right
Right.
now, you have around 80,000 to a lakh startup in India, right?
Right.
And earlier it was not even 10,000. Right? So the ecosystem is growing, and startups are going at 25% rate of interest rate, 25% growth rate.
Right.
I think this is growing now.
Right. So I think if I briefly capture you what you said, so you talked about startups becoming a mass movement, right? So now we do not have startups only restricted to the metros and the main cities, but even tier two and tier three startups are finally able to find a voice of their own and are actually working out with a lot of interesting solutions which are investable, right? The second that you mentioned was, a lot of international interest, which is now coming up in India, and a lot of people from across the globe want to invest into Indian entrepreneurs. And third, as you mentioned that the number of startups, because of the fact that ecosystem has strengthened, the startups are registering a very healthy growth of more than 25% per annum, right? Again, talking about when you said about international investors, there seems to be a kind of a temporary flip because of Indian government becoming quite tighter on Chinese investors, right? How do you think that will impact the ecosystem? Do you think one, it will give an opportunity for Indian startups to become a lot more resilient and innovative, and not just depend on what was so being called easy Chinese money? And second, do you think this will give an opportunity to investors from other countries to get more active interest and more active engagement in Indian startups?
See, there are two things, there are two ways to look at it.
Right.
See, the border situations, they are frankly temporary situations, right? The investors and startup relationships are beyond that, right? And I know that because the startup, if it is looking for a business to grow its business, or they see their interest from where they get it best, right?
Sure.
So they are looking for investors who basically help them to grow, right? So yes, a lot of Indians have started investing in the recent past. Last 5 years, I have seen that surge. That must have grown by at least 300% from tier 2, tier 3 ecosystem. Uh, on the other hand, yes, at one point of time when we started, this, there was only US investors and European investors used to invest. Then last 3, 4 years, a lot of Chinese investors started investing in Indian startups. There are, of course, two very large ecosystems, US and China, right? At the moment, Indian startup ecosystem is in balance of that. Majority of the funds are coming from these two ecosystems to India. But the fact is, like in India, lot of smaller cities, and lot of traditional people have started investing in the startups. World over, that transformation is happening. A lot of smaller countries, a lot of countries who never participated in startups, they have started investing, and they are looking for growing destinations.
Right.
At the moment, the highest growth in the startup ecosystem is in India.
Right.
That's why everybody from across the globe is looking to invest in Indian startups now. Right? Next 5 years is a time for India. So, yes, it will impact. It has impacted a little bit, because of this thing. But with the growing interest from other global investors from Middle East, smaller country from Europe, and smaller country from North American, this is subsided, and you will find overall a significant growth in next 5 years in Indian ecosystem from the global investors, and I'm sure the situation will improve and the things will normalize even with China.
Awesome. Awesome. Like, coming to my next question, Dr. Apoor, I think you have proven yourself amongst one of the Johri, when it comes to identifying the right kind of startup deals. I mean, you seem to have over the number of your years seem to have built that Midas touch. Whatever you touch almost becomes gold, right? And today, a lot of investors have a lot of trust in you. So, I'm just trying to understand, what goes into this process? What are the kind of quantitative and qualitative factors that you normally look out when you meet entrepreneurs? When you discuss with them, when you kind of when entrepreneurs present to you for potential investment, right? What is it that you are looking out for them in them? I mean, I understand numbers and other things are one thing, but I'm sure there must be something else. There must be something more qualitative, more psychological, more kind of body language. So what are those factors that you are able to capture, and what do you think are what are those secret sauce that successful entrepreneurs normally seem to project?
So I'll tell you, this is this capability of identifying the right startup varies from person to person, and that makes you successful in terms of getting your investments multiply or not. But what I look at is basically definitely the people behind the
Right.
business.
Right.
I spend a lot of time with them to understand whether they are good people management guys, whether they are having the capability of raising multiple rounds, whether they have vision to think about making this company a unicorn. Do they have a 10-year vision for that or not? So a lot of micro and macro level factors. Of course, that does not take a lot of time to understand, because these are things. If a startup founder is smart, he breathes those things. But yes, you will have to capture those factors, right?
Right.
Sometimes it is very, very difficult to make an assessment of the business, but you can do an assessment of a person, right?
Right.
Business model and business plans keeps changing in the idea stage and
Right.
especially the seed stage. These things, because these are new, innovative and disruptive concepts what they are bringing to you, right? So
Right.
they will change.
Right.
The models will change. Their concept might, especially in the technology startups, it takes around 1.5 years to get a clarity.
Right. Awesome.
So it's important to sort of have spend some time with them, and then analyze their business, and also see whether you can enable the support to them. What kind of support you can give them
Right.
to make them like any other business, right?
Right.
If you have that support available, definitely you should invest.
Awesome. So, kind of trying to delve a little bit more deeper into that. Do you think are there any specific mindset characteristics? Because I think
Yeah.
entrepreneurship is definitely not an easy journey.
One thing I noticed, they are very quick decision makers.
Okay, right,
Very quick decision makers.
right,
They will talk to you today, and they're firm decision makers.
right,
Mostly, 99%. I'm talking about. Once they decide, and so they won't take much time. They are very clear that this is the value, this is the proposition, what their investment terms they are looking at, and this is what they won't come back to you, right? So they are quick decision makers, and so you have to be, right? That is
right,
number one. Number two, they are very good assessments they have
hmm, hmm,
on the people, right? That's why they are able to attract the very good talent, right?
hmm,
So they are very good talent management people, I would say.
right,
They are very good people management people. So
right,
even in 5 or 10 minutes, you can see that the energy level they have and the kind of interactions they make, and how they become friendly with others, right? So third, these individuals who are doing coming with some idea, they have a strong clarity how
right,
big this can be,
right,
how this big this can be, and what's the route for that, right?
right,
And why they are one of the best people to do it. So these are very basic things, right? But you have to see how clear they are.
right.
Is there a clutter around or clarity? If the
Got it.
clarity is there, the guys are good.
Got it. Got it. And that's
When you
that's
want
very
me to give
helpful.
examples, I give you example of Beardo.
No, why not? I mean, I think that would definitely
Uh,
help if you can.
when I met, we spoke, I think 10:30 in the night,
Okay.
and he told me what he's doing, and I knew the space.
Hmm.
I evaluated 2 other startups.
Hmm.
We met 10 in the morning at my office.
Hmm.
By evening, we signed the term sheet,
Wow.
and within a
Wow.
month, we gave them money.
Right.
Despite the fact a lot of other people gave them an offer, they
Right.
stayed with us. So firm
Right.
in their mind, right?
Right.
Clarity. Why to come to us was very clear.
Awesome.
So these are things, examples I can give you, and I can keep you giving examples of many startups like that.
So, awesome. So what do you think? I mean, do you think do you think success can be taught? I mean, I understand that it is one thing to be able to identify entrepreneurs, right? And as you rightly pointed out in the previous question, that you need to have a right kind of a support system to be able to support those entrepreneurs. So, do you think success and growth are these things that can be taught? And normally when you invest in your companies, what is the kind of support that normally you are able to offer to your investing companies?
Repeat what you said. You
So,
said,
yeah, so I was saying that one, can success and growth be taught?
no,
Can you make
see,
can you
no. See, I'll tell you, the mentorship really helps
right,
to give them further clarity on what they are doing. But success hungriness has to come from within.
right,
If you are a success hungry person, then you
right,
are. If you are not, then you are not. Right? It cannot
get
be
it,
taught.
right,
It cannot be inserted. If you are hungry for
correct,
success, you are hungry for success. You want to be big, you want to be big. That's it. And those people
right,
who have that fire, they are visible from a distance, right? They are
right,
visible from a distance, right? You can't
right,
insert these things into a person. And our job is to identify those kind of people,
got it,
right? And invest in them
right,
and enable them.
got it. I think that's very interesting. Uh, okay, so I think obviously startups fail, right? And investors also fail, right? So in such a scenario, I'm sure there must be some deals of yours which would have not been able to achieve the kind of success that you had envisioned for them, right? So in that scenario, how do you how do you cope as an investor, and how do you help the entrepreneur to cope with failures? What do you think? What is your perspective on failure as part of the entrepreneurial journey?
See, I think failures always teach you, right?
Right,
Even between 2012 and 15, we invested in 11 startups. 8 died, but
right,
it taught me a lesson, right?
right.
As an entrepreneur. And I remember, this Uber founder, he
Mm.
failed miserably in his previous startup.
Mm.
And I know a lot of entrepreneurs who failed miserably in their previous startup, but they learned
Right,
it from their lessons from their, previous startup, right? And if you're able to analyze and learn from it, chances are in the next startup you're going to be big success.
awesome, awesome. Great. All right. Okay. During your entire journey, maybe if you can just recall, some one or two interesting anecdotes, or personal experiences that you think were kind of, something that you will never forget for your life. That something which actually also personally kind of added a lot in you, and kind of made your journey possible. So maybe you can talk about how did you help Oyo and Ritesh. That I think that is one experience which I'm sure would lot of my audience would love to listen to. That how did you find that young boy? What made you trust him? And if you can just talk about one or two other interesting incidents or interesting experiences in your journey, which you can talk about here.
So I'll say a couple of things. So never judge an entrepreneur by its age.
Right,
Because when I met Ritesh, he was just 17. Right? I would have not taken him seriously. I would have not
right,
got this.
right,
Frankly, they are the one who do it. We just piggyback on them. So
right.
never judge an entrepreneur by its age. That is number one. Never judge an entrepreneur by its degrees.
Hmm.
I met VFrace founder Nirav. He
Hmm.
he developed the company product, a very deep tech product, but he was not a coder by qualification. Surprisingly, he built one of the best codes and he got funded by Falcon Edge after us.
Right,
So there is you have to be open minded when you are evaluating these entrepreneurs, and frankly, it is more an interaction, right? Not the evaluation even, right? So third, you have to understand that you know other than proposition, theme, there is X factors also which works, right?
hmm.
So it is important to be open minded always when you are evaluating these startup founders,
Right,
and also you have to also understand they have left their jobs,
right,
everything.
right,
They have taken. They are big risk takers, right? So always respect what they are doing, right?
right,
So when you respect, even if they fail, they may refer you one of the best start of your life.
right,
So I was this even Oyo and all these guys. Many of them were recommended to me my failed startups. So
right.
these are three bits I can share. But I think frankly, there are a lot of other people who can teach us. But good learnings we have during this time.
Awesome. Uh, okay, now what are your basic suggestions or guidelines for today's early stage entrepreneurs? Who are looking out for investments and who are looking out to probably reach out to you or to venture capitalist. So what are the few things that you would want them to keep in mind when they approach you for potential investments?
I will say there are, entrepreneurs should, you know, first of all, uh, they should see whether see when they're coming with some ideas, right,
Mm.
to us. So at that point, they should do some kind of research
Mm.
whether those ideas are disruptive or innovative or not. Right? So there is no secret sauce of being a unicorn.
Right.
There's no secret sauce. Three things you have to take care of. A, if it's a consumer facing business,
Mm.
how large market size you are addressing.
Okay.
Whether your idea is acceptable to consumer or not, whether it has a virality factor or not, and can this become a very huge,
Right.
so you do before reaching out to the investors, and then whether people will pay for it or not. Sometimes
Right.
people don't pay for it. Still, it becomes a big idea, right? So some basic things, you do a basic test before reaching out to investors, right? And then you see whether you are the right person to do it or not. And
Right.
if you are, then buy. Some basic
Right.
things. Once you have answers for that, reach out to the investors.
Got it. Got it. But is there any specific criteria that you normally look at? Like, are you open to totally new concepts, or do you look at the entrepreneurs who would have already kind of bootstrapped and built certain traction before they approach you? Is there any specific criteria in terms of domain or something of those kinds?
I think it's a. There are some negative factors, right? Which we, definitely. For example, if there are more than three co-founders,
Hmm. Hmm.
then it's a challenge.
Okay.
You will have a challenge in the team.
Right.
Maximum four co-founders.
Right.
So I will say is 3-4 co-founders. Beyond that, it is a challenge.
Right.
Then you also look at, if it's a team which is fully dedicated or not.
Hmm.
They're still in the job or they are still doing it part time or whatever.
Hmm.
They've taken full risk or not.
Hmm.
And third, whether the idea is which is in the negative list in India. There is
Hmm.
a lot of regulation
Got it. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
India. Do not
Right.
permit. For example, if you want to do a crypto company, India won't.
Get it.
So
Get it.
you will have to see those negative lists.
Right.
But then you see after that you make an assessment of the founder and their ideas.
Right. So coming to venture capitalist, I think you have also just very recently launched one of your new initiatives, which is Nine Unicorns, right? So
Yes.
maybe if you can talk a little bit about that, and also tell us that what are the other ideas that venture capitalist is planning to work on and kind of continue its innovative streak, when it comes to startup funding in India.
See, my first company, Venture Catalyst, now became world number 7.
Right.
It was declared by Crunchbase in the category of angel network and incubator
Right.
and accelerator. After doing that, we realized that maybe, and we also did some analysis what's going to come in next 5 years in India.
Right.
So we are at 1 lakh startups. In next 5 years, we will be at least 7 lakh startups or so,
Hmm.
right? And maybe in 10 years, we will be around 1 million startups in India, right? Today, you are at 36 unicorns. Tomorrow, you will be at 500 unicorns. Today,
Right.
you are at maybe 300 semi-unicorn or sunicorns.
Right.
Tomorrow, you will be at 3,000 plus semi-unicorns or sunicorns. This is next 7 to 10 years likely to come.
Right.
So, but the question here is, today we may be investing in 60 startups in a year.
Mm.
And if we start doing maybe 300 or 200 in a year, how do we get a quality of the deals?
Mm.
So the basic building block, which I realized, there are still a lot of accelerators and incubators in India,
Mm.
but there's no Y Combinator in India.
Right.
Y Combinator is the one which transformed the ecosystem in Silicon Valley at some
Right.
point of time. They're still transforming it. They've created 20 unicorns, more than 100 plus semi-unicorns, 150 whatever. There's no such company in India. That's a building block which is missing. You have angel network, maybe 50 plus, 100. You have a lot of micro VCs, hundreds of them, right? But this is a missing building block.
Right.
That's why we thought of launching 9 Unicorn, which is an accelerator fund, very similar to Y Combinator offering, but improvised as per Indian requirements,
Right.
and going to invest in 100 startups in next 3 years' time, idea stage.
Awesome. Awesome. And also with respect to venture capitalist, do you plan to further expand into more tier two and tier three cities? What
We
are
are
any
expand-
specific plans in that space?
We are
Okay.
expanding. Today we are in 42 cities.
Right.
Tomorrow we may be in 100 cities.
Right.
And we are just simply setting up incubators there, simply setting up the angel networks there. We are helping the ecosystem there, educating a lot of people. And then outside India, we are expanding in Middle East, London, Europe, US, and Hong Kong and Singapore.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Before I go back to, I think before I will open the floor to any questions that my audience will have, I just want to understand from you any last suggestions or feedback that you would like to talk about, about especially about entrepreneurs and what do you think, will help Indian entrepreneurs to improvise on their potential rate of success in this country. What is it that we really have more and more successful entrepreneurs coming out of India? What factors do you think will help out here?
See, I think you require, you hit the nail actually. So, and this is nobody else asked me this question ever. So, to make India a startup superpower,
Hmm.
you need 500 unicorns.
Hmm.
And for that you need to very, very high quality startups coming out of India.
Right.
At least 2000 people startup will try,
Right.
or maybe 5000 will try, then 500 will become unicorns.
Yes. Yes.
A grade startups.
Right.
But how will this A grade startup come? They're
Right.
not born,
Right.
they've been enabled to do
Right.
it. You need to create an ecosystem. Very
Right.
strong enablement. You need a layers of at least hundreds of the accelerators in India.
Right.
A grade accelerators like Techstar, 5 Startup, Y Combinator. They are localized. And these
Right.
accelerators are local phenomena. Always remember.
Right.
Accelerator is a local phenomenon. Because it is customized as per the requirements of the local startups. How to make them big. Because every country has different challenge. China has different challenge, US has different challenge, India has totally different challenge.
Correct.
You cannot have the same formula
Right.
for
You can't.
developing a startup from India or developing a startup from China. Different, you cannot have.
Correct.
So you need a very strong enablement here. You need a very strong legacy of, I'll say, the number of accelerators here.
Right.
Very active incubators here. That's going to make it big. Enablement,
Right.
building blocks should be very strong here. That's
Right.
what I can say.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I think I'll open the house for questions. I'll just wait for 2 minutes, just to see if we are getting any questions out there. But I think that was a very, very inspiring talk, and thank you so much for giving us time today, sir. Uh,
Okay.
All right. So we have one question which says, in your opinion, what is the scope of deep tech-based startups targeting enterprises in India at present, and what does the future look like, both from opportunity and impact context?
See, I'll tell you something. Last 1 year, my perception is changing. Earlier, I used to believe that there is no future of
Uh-huh.
B2B startups in India,
Okay.
largely because the corporates were not very open to accept ideas.
Right.
But last 1 year, I interacted with around 200 plus corporates.
Okay.
They are becoming pro.
Right.
Right? So that's why, you know, when we interacted with Incubate Hub people, we learned it hard that maybe in 3 years the startups will become pro. And you can see Geo, what Reliance, the biggest
Yes.
company of India, what they have
Yes.
done.
Yes.
They become a startup pro.
Yes.
Everybody else will follow now
Right. Right.
because they have set the trend in the market.
Right.
Next 3 to 5 years, you will find a very good time for deep tech startups in India. But if you're already into that business, yes, US is the best market for that. Right?
Awesome. All right. All right. So there's one question which has come, which says, which basically says, uh, how difficult or how open should an entrepreneur be, when it comes to pivoting their ideas, right? Because pivoting normally could become a painful process, right? Because entrepreneur has started this idea with something, and he has to pivot it. So what are your thoughts that how critical and how can pivoting become more effective? What are the factors that a startup entrepreneur should look out when he's pivoting his business?
See, I think the only those entrepreneurs can pivot those who have flexible mind. I
Mm.
remember when Find came to us, it was a pivoted start.
Right,
Even the name was changed, right?
right,
And then it becomes successful, bought by Reliance, right, from us. It becomes successful, right? So you have to analyze
mm.
after 1 year whether your secret sauce is working or not.
Right,
If it's working, you would have the term sheet from 2, 3 other investors,
got it,
and you would have become into growth directly.
got it,
If in 1 year it has not worked, you have to analyze
right,
either to pivot or do some other startup.
got it,
Maximum 1.5 years. Right?
got it,
So you have to analyze, and then you should talk to your mentors. That's why mentors are important in the world.
right,
Talk to the mentors who have the capability of transforming startups.
right,
There are many mentors in India
right.
who
Awesome,
can actually transform the startups.
awesome.
I
Uh,
remember there are at least 10 companies which has come to venture catalyst who are almost dying
hmm,
or they were almost shutting down
right.
and they become successful now. Very successful.
Wow, wow,
Right.
interesting.
So
Interesting.
I would not like to name anyone, but you
Sure,
speak to my portfolio companies, they will tell you. So
sure,
it is important to pivot at the right time when
right,
the secret sauce is not working.
right,
Important to you are an entrepreneur now. You have to be flexible.
right. Awesome, awesome. All right. I think we'll take one more last question. To this, he's asking that, what will it take to Indian startups and businesses to become world giants? Companies like Amazon and Google. So what will it? How much time will it take to have more Amazon and Google coming out of India? So today we have one Geo, which I think is now almost standing in that league. Uh, how much time do you think it will take for more geos to come and emerge? Do you think it is possible?
See, I want to tell you something. OYO has already set an example.
Right, right,
it has become world one of the fastest growing startup. Pre-COVID, it was growing at 325% growth rate.
Right.
It was in top 5 in Europe, top 5 in China.
Right.
Right? They have set up the business model which is getting replicated across the globe.
Right.
Something to learn from that gentleman.
Right.
I'm a big admirer of him because he is the one who set up a business model in India which was replicated across the globe.
Right.
And it was growing faster than India outside India.
Right.
So there's something to learn from that gentleman. Right?
Absolutely.
So there you will find many such startup coming now in the future.
Right.
You will
Right.
find many. Because next 5 to 10 years is a time for Indian startups.
Awesome. Okay. There's one more question which says any tips or tricks to the aspiring student entrepreneurs out there?
So student entrepreneurs, I want to tell you something. I recently funded a year back, vested, and the guys were studying in Berkeley.
Hmm.
A lot of startups in US, they get funded when they're studying.
Right.
Even I'm very much open. Why you guys studying to fund you guys if you have a very interesting ideas.
Right.
This is the right time to do a startup. You have flexibility of mind. You don't have
Right.
any risks associated. There's nothing to lose.
Right.
Right time. Take the
Right.
risk.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. I think that's it for the day today. So
Thank
with
you.
that note, thanks so much, sir, and wishing you all the best. And I think we will continue to learn from you and getting inspired from you. Bye, and thanks so much. Bye, sir. All right, guys. I hope that was an interesting interaction. We look forward to have you join us for the next session of Building Your Own Parts. Till then, goodbye.